Hi ladies and gentlemen, it's Dirk with CopsWholesale.com and wanted to show you a new product that we're featuring here at Cops Wholesale. This is the Riton X3 Tactix PRD red dot sight. So wanted to show you what we got in the box with it and also talk about how it tested on the range and our thoughts on the particular sight. Something cool about Riton Optics, it is U.S. military and law enforcement veteran owned, and that is cool and something that we really like at Cops Wholesale. And I wanted to let you know as well that this particular red dot we got directly from our distributor. It wasn't a gift from Riton Optics for us to say nice things about it. So we're going to give you our open and honest review on what we got and what we think that this particular optic is good for. So open it up. What we got in the box is we got a very nice microfiber cloth with the optic. And it's not just a little cheapy afterthought, it's actually a nice big cloth to clean off your optic. So very nice addition, something that some of the more expensive ones don't come with. There's a thank you card in here that gives you the company contact information. During our testing with the site, I actually had the opportunity to call the phone number. Actually, after about 3 rings, I actually talked to a living human being who was able to answer my questions, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then also, if you note here on the card, the optics manual is listed online. It's a nice PDF, something that you can refer to. If you wanted to, you could print it out and go from there and have that for your records. But also, if things update with Riton, you can get the new updated information, and they can update that pretty clearly and quickly. So just a standard with a lot of the sites. You get a little wrench. This particular wrench is for adjusting and tightening up the Picatinny rail, as well as the mounting screws for the red dot. And then also, this came with a nice little wrench that is the little screwdrivers for adjusting the windage and elevation on this particular sight. I'll go through here too. There's a little space for a battery. If you don't see a battery in there, don't fear, because we didn't see one either, and we were a little bit concerned. And that's pretty much the contents of the box until you get to the sight. So here's the Riton sight that we bought. And it comes, as you'll notice right away, with a very nice plastic cover for the sight. Nice for keeping it safe in your gun bag as you're going to the range, or keeping it protected while it's in the safe. And as you take it off, you can see that it's a nice rubbery material that seems like it'll hold up and protect your sight very well. Taking a look at the sight, it's not overly marked up. It has the Riton Optics marquee there. It has your windage adjustment and your elevation adjustment. And then you have your controls, which are pretty easy on the left side of the optic. And then as you see, you can see that the dot's there. It's actually a nice 3 MOA dot, a really nice dot. And the other thing that you'll see is the way that the body's manufactured, the back of the body almost makes up kind of like a backup iron sight, and it sits just a little bit below my Trijicon suppressor height sights on my Glock 45 MOS. So it is a little bit taller than the Trijicon Optics. So that's something to know if you want to co-witness or if you want to use backup iron sights. But it's a really nice sight. The other thing that's kind of cool about this sight is it comes with an integral Picatinny rail, and a lot of other sights don't come with that. A lot of other sights, if you're going to get a nice integral Picatinny rail, or if you're going to get a Picatinny rail, you may go and you may spend almost $100 on it. With this particular Riton sight, for the price that you buy it from Cops Wholesale, you actually get a Picatinny rail. Comes right off. Say if you had, like I do, if you had a Trijicon RMR, you could put it right on this Picatinny rail and your Trijicon would fit just nice. So we can see that the Trijicon has the same footprint right here, as you can see even on the sides. It mates up there real nice. Has the same footprint as the Riton does. Let's drop those screws out of the way. You can see it just drops right on there. So you have the bosses here, and then where your screws would end up. So I'm going to put that out of the side. And the Riton Optic, one of the nice things about it is that the battery compartment's on the top. So you don't have to get under the bottom of it and take it off of the gun to change your battery. The other thing that's really nice about this is that the Riton sights come with Energizer batteries. And I think that's a really great feature. The Energizer batteries are really nice, so it's not coming with a cheapy battery that you're going to end up changing out in a couple of weeks. It's something that should last you. I don't know that it's going to last you the 40,000 plus hours that it says that it's going to on a CR1632 battery, but we haven't tested that, and I don't know if it will or won't, but it's just nice to have a good quality battery in there. So you can see I have a nice bright red dot, and then if we can see here, I just have the slide for my Glock 45 MOS. You can see that it has the 2-plate, which is set up for the Trijicon. So I like this about the Riton is that, as you can see here, here's a Trijicon mounted to the MOS, and it fits real well. The Riton fits on exactly the same plate, and so that's really, really handy, because if you were to buy this and use it for what my recommendation is, you could go ahead and switch it out or upgrade it maybe to a different sight after a while. So we talked about, oh, if you look here too, it's kind of hard to see, but the window is a slightly blue tint to it, a little bit like the slightly blue tint of the RMR. And the one thing I found about this particular sight is when I wanted to mount it to my Glock MOS, because that's what I bought it for, and when I put the Riton screws in, and these are the ones that come with it, these are like button screws, I found that they didn't fit. So they were a little bit too long. So that gave me the opportunity to give Riton a call and say, hey, do you guys have a screw that would work so I can mount it on my Glock MOS? And when I talked to a real life person at Riton, they said, you know, we don't have a screw yet, so you have a couple options. You could go to the hardware store and find some screws that you'd like to use, or keep watching the website, because we're going to be putting out some screws that you can work with, that'll, you know, because a lot of people have called us and it'll remedy the issues. What I ended up doing is, because I do have a Trijicon, is I ended up utilizing my screws for my Trijicon RMR for the MOS plate, and they ended up working. And they're a little bit shaped differently, so I think that if you look, the way that the shape is, it kind of blocks the battery compartment, so you'd probably have to take the batteries off. But I just wanted to chuck it up on there and see how it worked, and go try it out at the range and see how this particular sight really worked out for me. And so I got it mounted up, I took it to the range, and as I went to the range, it wasn't mounted or zeroed out, so I had to do a little bit of adjustment up here with the elevation and here with the windage. Well, guess what? As I was trying to find the adjustments, I didn't get a good tactile click out of the sight. So if any of you are familiar with some of the other sights, as you're adjusting things, you get a good click, and you can hear and you can listen to the click, 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 and you know that you're making some adjustments, and you can kind of count them. I wasn't able to do that on this particular sight. Huge deal, could have been, but once I zeroed it out, I had a lot of fun shooting it. I went back to the range to teach a class on another day. It was still nice and zeroed, and it was good to go. The unfortunate thing about this one, and why I'm going to rate it the way I rate this particular sight when we get to the end of the video, is I wore this around in my holster on range day for the my agency that I work for during the day, and I turned it on, and true to form, because it says right in their owner's manual, it auto shut off. It had an auto shut off at about 4 hours. and the dot went dark. And so if I'm shooting competition, not a problem. If I'm a hobbyist and I'm just taking it to the range for a ton of fun, also not a problem. As a law enforcement officer, I really would like the dot to just remain on. And so because it doesn't, we at Cops Wholesale, Clint and I, have rated this little sight, even though it's a great sight and I really think it's a lot of fun and I think it's a well-built little sight, we've rated it as more of a hobbyist or competition fun use as opposed to a duty use type thing. It says that the battery life is 40,000 plus hours. I wouldn't be able to test that because it shuts itself off, so I wouldn't be able to leave it continuously on. Another thing too is it says that it is waterproof, which if you were going to use it on duty and if you've worked a rainy night and you've had an alarm call and you're soaking wet out there when it's raining and you've done your search, you come back to the station when you end watch and your gun is soaking wet, so you have to tear it apart, re-oil it, put your holster in your locker and let it dry out. It says that this is waterproof. I didn't check that because of the auto shut off. If it didn't have that auto shut off feature, I would love to see how waterproof this little sight is. The other thing too is it says that it is rated for a drop or an impact of 800 Gs, and I would love to see how it functions with that particular drop. But again, because it's not something that I would utilize for duty use, we didn't try to destroy it because ultimately this is not going to be something that gets hard used, that gets that maybe, if you get into a fight, you land on your holster and you slide with it, or if your gun drops or something like that, this we're not going to use this for it because of the auto shut off. Now, I will tell you this. I had the opportunity on the class that I was teaching to show the class how to rack the slide, and because of course I have this on the slide, I went ahead and racked it off my boot. As you can see, there's no problems. The nice thing is the coating on here. I'm sorry guys, I was kind of having a brain slowdown. The coating that's on the sight did really well. Didn't scratch, didn't have any kind of problems. The lens didn't scratch or anything like that. Actually, this little sight did really great. Clint and I have decided that this is not going to get the Cops Wholesale duty approval or duty use approval just because of the auto shut off. I guess if it didn't have that auto shut off, I would really like to test this or run this little sight a little bit harder. Now, what this sight is good for. This sight is good for, hey, I want to get into the world of red dot. I want to try it out. I'll probably upgrade to the gold standard, which is the Trijicon RMR at some point, but I just want to get in on the ground level. I want to try it out. I want to see if I can shoot. I want to see if I like it. This is the sight for you. At the price that we have it on Cops Wholesale, I think that you can get into this site, go try it out, try out something with an RMR footprint. It's got good mounting gear. You could even, if you decided, hey, I've used this little sight, it's great, I want to go move on to another site, you could put this on maybe your backup shotgun that's got a Picatinny rail at the house and turn it up when you need it. But it's a fun sight. It's great. It seems like a little workhorse. It's just the auto shut off. The auto shut off is the one that really gets me, and that's why it is competition and hobby approved, but not Cops Wholesale duty approved. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Stay safe out there and hope to see you when we go 10-8. We'll talk to you later. Bye.